Hello everyone. Welcome to the course Information System and Engineering Economics. I hope that you have downloaded the study material available at my blog and taken the review of the contents present on the blog related with unit number 4. As I already told you that to cover unit 4 we required 3 sessions. So as per the schedule, today we will discuss the second module having the title Time Value for Money. It is related with unit number 4 having title Money and Economic Value. The purpose or the goal of studying this subject is further classified into 3 parts. Number 1 is to get in-depth knowledge of the economic terms such as interest rate, compound interest and annuities. Number 2 is to take wise financial decision and solve social problem using the knowledge gain. Number 3 is the most important objective right now. It is to score good marks in upcoming university exams. Our last lectures deal with engineering economics decision. So just try to recall that what are the important phases in strategic engineering economic decisions. Yes, there are 5 main types of engineering economic decisions. First one is equipment or process selection. Second is equipment replacement. Third is new product or product expansion. Fourth is cost reduction. And finally, improvement in service or quality. Next, we will take a quick review of our last session. From the previous session, we start learning about the money and economic value, which is part of our unit number 4. In the last lecture, we briefly discussed the engineering economic decision, in which we saw the unique features of accounting for manufacturing concerns such as process costing, batch costing, cost allocation. After that, we learn the rational decisions for making the processes. We are now aware that in rational decision there are total 6 methodological steps for strict decision making. We conclude our previous lecture by reviewing the role of engineers in businesses. Now next we will see the contents of the session. We just saw the summary of our previous lecture. We plan to learn about time value of money. Okay, the contents of session 2, as we begin with introduction to time value of money, which is very important topic for every engineer. He must know the basics of interest rate and its influence over decisions made by businesses. We will cover the basic terminology involved in calculation of the TVM, that is time value of money. Then we will proceed to learn about cash flow line, which can be used to represent investment, gradient or annuity cash flow. After that, we will address the issues associated with interest rate calculation. We will learn about the compound interest rate. Then we will review the term present value, and finally we will conclude our session by taking the review of future value. This is the roadmap for our session. Next, we will see what is value for money. Now we will learn what exactly time value of money. Interest rate and their effects on the value of money. Actually, this part is concerned with interest rate and their effects on the value of money. Interest rate have widespread influence over decisions made by businesses and by us in personal lives. The money they have borrowed. Then the question arises, what are investment solutions and computations for mortgage and loan. The reason is that we earn money on sums. We make certain financial management such as we have invested in saving account or certificates of deposits, sometimes money market funds. We also pay for the use of money which we have borrowed for school loans or mortgage or credit card purchases. We will first examine the nature of interest and its computation. Then, next, we will discuss several investment solutions and computations related to each. Investment alternatives and financial management. Time value of money is an important concept in financial management. It can be used to compare investment alternatives and to solve problems involving in loans or in mortgages or in leases as well as in savings and annuities. Then next is present and future value of the rupees. Time value of money is based on the concept that a rupee that you have today is worth more than the promise or expectation that you will receive a rupee in future. Money that you have hold today is worth more because you can invest it and earn interest. Then the key concept of TVM is sum of money evenly spaced payment in future payment. A key concept of TVM is that single sum of money or a series of equal evenly spaced payment or receipt promised in future can be converted to an equivalent value today. You can determine the value to which a single sum or a series of future payment will grow at some future date. Timeline for cash flow. When we are dealing with cash flow that are different points in time, then it is made easier using timeline that shows both the timing and the amount of each cash flow in stream. Thus, a cash flow is a stream of certain amount at the end of each next 5 years can be depicted on the timeline. Next, we will see how earning and interest rate is related with time value of money. Money has a time value because it can earn more money over time. That is called earning power. Money that is available at the present time is worth more than the same amount in the future due to its potential earning capacity. Money has a value because its purchasing power changes over time. That is inflation. For example, whenever a product is bought or sold beyond its real price for its worth, then inflation of money occurs. Time value of money is measured in terms of interest rate. Interest is the cost of money, a cost to the borrower and an earning to the lender. Time value of money is two-edged sword, whereby earning grows by but purchasing power decreases due to the inflation as time goes by. Next, we will learn about the cash flow diagram. How do you construct a cash flow diagram? A horizontal line is drawn which represent the length of time or life of the investment opportunity. The interest period are then marked off and label either below the line or above the line. At the extreme left timeline is time 0, represent the time when the first cash flow is made. All the cash flow are then represented by corresponding position in time which they occurred. Here is not a case, but suppose there will be a downwards arrow, then it indicates negative cash flow. That means expenses exceeding than the revenue. Then the upward arrow shows positive cash flow. The normal approach is to assume that all investment for a particular year are made at the beginning of the year, while revenue occurs at the end of the years. This figure represent for the cash flow of rupees 1000 with 12% interest rate at the end of each of the next 5 years can be depicted on the timeline. It refers to present period and therefore cash flow that occurs at time 0 is therefore already in a present value terms and does not need to be adjusted for time value. It is important here to understand the distinguish between a period of a time and point in a time. The portion of a time between 0 and 1 refers to a period 1, which here is assumed to be the first year. The cash flow that occurs at the point 1 refers to the cash flow that occurs at the end of the period 1. Hope you understand the cash flow diagram very well. Next, we will see interest rate. A rate which is changed or paid for the use of money. An interest rate is often expressed as an annual percentage of the principal. When you deposit money into the bank pays you interest. Suppose when you borrow money from the bank, you have to pay interest to the bank. Then the question arises, how to calculate the interest rate? There are two types of interest rate. One is the simple interest rate and another is the compound interest rate. First, we will learn about the simple interest rate. In simple interest rate, money paid only on the principal is represented by I, while principal amount is the amount of money borrowed or invested. We will take a product of principal amount, then rate and then time. Here the rate is the interest rate. Generally it is declared in percentage. Then the time. Time is the money is borrowed or invested in years. If we know the values of all these three terms, then by simply taking the product, we can able to calculate the simple interest. In other words, we can say it is a compensation given for a waiting period is time value of money. Now we know the formula for calculating the simple interest. It is time to take one example based on the interest rate. So here we have to solve the problem. Now if you carefully read this problem statement, a person lends 10,000 rupees to a corporation by purchasing a bond from the corporation. Simple interest is computed quarterly at the rate of 3% per quarter, and a check for the interest is mailed each quarter to all the bondholders. The bonds expire at the end of 5 years, and the final check includes the original principal plus interest earned during the last quarter. Compute the interest earned each quarter and the total interest which will be earned over 5 years life of the bond. How do you solve this problem? If you can observe, then the principal amount is rupees 10,000. Interest rate is given as 3% per quarter and the period of loan is 5 years. Be alert and careful. In this problem, interest rate time period is a quarter of year. So we must consider 5 years as 20 quarters. As in 1 year there are 4 quarters. So 5 multiplied by 4, that is equal to the 20 quarters. Now we know the values of P, N and R. Now let's calculate the values. Here we are interested in amount of interest earned over 1 quarter. Therefore, quarterly interest is 10,000 into 0.03 into 1, that equal to 300. Remember, many students often committed mistake. They forget to convert percentage of interest into the rate of interest. So, the conversion of percentage of interest to the rate of interest, you need to divide 3 by 100. So, you will get 0.03. Then, we have to compute the total interest over 5 years. So total interest will be initially we have calculated the 300 for the 1. Now there will be a 20 quarters in 5 years. So 300 multiplied by 20, you will get the rupees 6,000. Thus at the end of the 5 years, the customer can earn 6,000 interest over his principal amount. Now we will learn about another interest rate, that is the compound interest rate. Compound interest rate is interest paid not only on the principal but also on the interest that has already been earned. The formula for compound interest is where A is the final amount while P is the principal amount. This R is the rate of interest and T is the number of compounding period per year. That's why it is in a exponential. The compound interest or compounding interest is the interest on a loan or deposit calculated based on both initial principal and the accumulated interest from the previous period. Due to have origin in 17th century by Italy scientist, he invented this compound interest rate can be thought of as a interest on a interest and will make a sum grow at faster rate than the simple interest, which is calculated only on the principal amount. Compound interest occurs when interest earned during the previous period itself earn interest in the next and subsequent period. The practice of charging an interest rate to an initial sum and to any previously accumulated interest that has not been withdrawn. To understand this compound interest more clearly, let's take one example based on the compound interest. Let's take one simple example. If rupees 1000 is plused into a saving account, that paying a 6% interest rate per year, then how much amount will be available at the end of the second year? To solve this problem, you know very well how to calculate the simple interest. Okay, that is what we take product of PNR. So principal amount is 1000 and we know the simple interest formula. So 1000 into 0.06 into 1 for the first year, that's why we have taken 1. We will earn 60 rupees as a interest rate. As we are calculating the compound interest, so this 60 rupees will be accumulated into a total amount at the end of the first year. So the sum of these two terms will be 1060 rupees. Now again you know the simple interest formula. So simply the principal is now going to be increases. It is previously it is 1000, now it is 1060, but the interest rate is same and we are calculating for the second year, that is the next year. So we are taking time as a 1. So we get 63.60. So if we get at the second year the amount available at the end of the second year, that will be 1123.60, the interest on the total amount. So this is the interest rate of time value of money. Now next important term is future value. Future value is the value of an asset at a specific date in the future. It measures the nominal future sum of money that a given sum of money is worth at a specified time in the future, assuming a certain interest rate or more generally rate of return. Actually, the future value does not include correction for inflation or other factors that affect the true value of money in the future. Soon we will learn one more important term associated with future value, and that is present value. Present value is the current value of the future sum of money or stream of cash flow given a specified rate of return. Future cash flow are discount at the discount rate, and the higher the discount rate, the lower the present value of the future cash flow. That determining the appropriate discount rate is the key property valuing future cash flow, where they can be earning or debt obligations. Next, we will see how to calculate the future value. So, this is the equation for calculating the future value. In this equation, FV is the future value of the investment at the end of the year N. Then I is the annual interest rate. Then PV is the present value in today's rupees of sum of the money. This equation is used to determine the value of an investment at some point in the future. Here, if you observe, then input the future amount that you expect to receive in the numerator of the formula. Now we will learn one more aspect of time value of money, that is the present value. So what does mean present value of money? Present value states that an amount of money today is worth more than the same amount in future. In other words, present value shows that the money received in future is not worth as much as equal amount received today. It is a process of discounting the future value of money to obtain its value at zero time period, that is at present. Present value tells you the amount you must invest today to accumulate a certain amount at some future time. To determine the present value, we need to know the amount of money to be received in future, the interest rate to be earned on the deposit, as well as the number of years the money will be invested. Unspent money today could lose value in the future by an implied annual rate due to the inflation or the rate of return if the money was invested. Calculating the present value involves assuming that a rate of return could be earned on the funds over the period. Now next we will discuss the discounting and compounding. The concept of compounding and discounting are quite similar with each other. Discounting brings a future sum of money to the present time using discount rate, while compounding brings a present sum of money to the future time. The discount rate is the investment rate of return that is applied to the present value. In other words, the discount rate would be the foregone rate of return if an investor chooses to accept an amount in the future versus the same amount today. The mechanism for factoring in the present value of the money is the discount rate. The process of finding the equivalent value today of a future cash flow is known as discounting, while compounding converts the present cash flow into a future cash flow. The discount rate that is chosen for the present value calculation is highly subjective because it's the expected rate of return you had received if you had invested today's rupees for a period of time. We already learned how to calculate the future value. Now we will learn how to calculate the present value. The present value is the current value of a future sum of money or stream of cash flow given a specified rate of return. So far, we have seen how to calculate the future value of an investment, but we can turn this around to find the amount that need to be invested to achieve some of the desired future value. Using the present value table, present value interest factor, that is PVIF, a factor multiplied by the future value to determine the present value of that amount. That is PV is equal to future value into the PVIF, that is the present value interest factor. Notice that PVIF is lower as the number of year increases and as the interest rate increases. It can also be calculated using the financial calculator. This PV is equal to FV upon 1 plus R, here to the power n is the input time period as exponent n in the denominator. So, if you want to calculate the present value of an amount you expect to receive in particular year, you would plug the number of that particular year number into the n in the denominator. I hope you understand how to calculate the present value. Now next we will learn about the annuities. Annuity is nothing but a money payable to the beneficiary at regular interval for a prescribed period of time. Or you can say a series of equal payments occurring at equal space period of time. The present value of an annuity is the value now of a series of equal amount to be received or paid out some specified number of periods in future. It is computed by discounting each of the equal periodic amount. An annuity is a series of nominal equal payments equally spaced in time. The timeline shows an example of 5 years that rupees 100 annuity is equally spread. There are few more terms associated with annuity such as annuity fund, annuity factors. The functions of interest rate and time that determine the amount of periodic annuity that may be paid out of a given fund is called annuity factor. While annuity fund is a fund that is received for payment of annuities. The present worth of the fund required to support future annuity payments. Hope you understand the term annuity means. Now it is time to summarize our session. By all the discussion, we get to know about the value of money with respect to the time. We learn the importance of TVM, how it will help in making different decisions which will be provide profit to the firm. How the future value and present value of money is calculated. Now we will see few study questions based on today's topic. What is the time value of money? Explain with example. Then second question, explain cash flow diagram with example. Then the third question, how are cash flow based capital expenditure decision taken in company? You have to solve this assignment question and upload it to our Google Classroom. In next session, we will discuss the last module of Unit 4, that is Understanding Money Management, in which we will discuss about the nominal and effective interest rate, and also we will learn about the debt management. The basics of money management are available in our textbook. You can take a review of this fundamental. If you have any query or difficulty, you feel free to post your queries on our Google Classroom. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.